Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
This is The Long War. I'm Rob Baer, and joining me once again are my partners in crime, Kenny Boucher and Wyatt Turk. What's up, guys?
Yo, Doc, great to be here.
Yeah, what's up?
I just want to point out that I nailed that opening.
You did.
Just nailed it.
Professional.
I am going to screw something else up now.
The only thing more professional would have been not pointing out your professionalism.
I was really excited. I couldn't hold it in.
Heard that. So, a lot of orc stuff happened today, Rob.
Was it today? I don't even know anymore.
I mean, I don't know if it was today.
It feels like all day, every day with the orcs.
It's as Wyatt said, right? Like, now that people have had the codex for a while, and now we're getting our screenshots, and now we're getting
oh yeah.
You know.
I think anytime new content comes out, it's great. Because, you know, we're very blessed for a lot of new content. It's just, you know, the community gets a little opinionated depending on how the content is packaged and sold to us sometimes, I think, and definitely how Games Workshop conducts themselves sometimes, I think. So either way, no matter what happens,
this is a part of the chase, man. Like, this is like,
yeah.
So this is part of that hype. Like, this, like, I don't know. Every time this happens, I get super fucking hype. Wyatt's already got a spreadsheet with the points. We've got all the screenshots of the data sheets. We've been just scheming the best we can, all inefficiently through our image application on our desktops. Like, it's been an exciting 48 hours for the Orks, and which we're going to comment on in the meat and potatoes. Wyatt is coming to us, boots on the ground, Lone Star Open. So we'll probably get to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. Coming at you from Dallas.
Which is pretty fucking sexy. That we get to maybe talk a little bit about what you think is going to happen meta-wise, you know, maybe between segments. But let's just kick it off, bro. Let's roll out to Wyatt's Cave of Wonders.
Ooh, yeah. Would you rather pets understand everything you say, or you understand everything pets say?
Joke's on you. I already do both.
I would rather understand everything they say. 100%. Because like, my biggest concern with my pets is when they get sick. And I feel like half of it is because they just can't tell me, like, how they feel. And so, like, I would do anything that Jen tells me to do to get that result. The amount of stress that it gives me with my dog, whom I love more than anything. She can continue disregarding what I say. I don't care. She can just do whatever the fuck she wants. She can continue.
Most likely will.
You know? But if I just could be like, if I could just hear her say, like, my tummy hurts. I think I ate some fucking literal garbage outside.
Well, whose fault is that, Saren?
Like, but if I could just know it was because she ate some little garbage and not antifreeze, you know, or whatever it was this week. Or I ate another fucking fat nug of weed. I'm getting high, you know, which is the thing she loves to do.
I mean, why are you leaving it out? This question.
I mean, you don't leave things out.
Not things that are detrimental to my pets.
I mean, a dog can't, like, he literally can't consume enough weed to actually be fatal. It's literally she gets high and she looks weird as fuck and you're concerned for her safety. And if you take her in and then they're like, she's high, take her home. It's a whole thing, which has happened many times. And now I know.
Cat is literally, well, I know what this woman's saying. She's like, let me in this box of food. I can't figure out. I have no thumbs. I'm trying to get in this box of food. Stop.
Nothing about what Wyatt says they're going to listen to us and regard us. So.
Yeah, definitely not.
Hey, Sarah,
a little bit.
Should go in your bed. That doesn't mean she's going to.
So, I think that's actually a good one because, you know, when I worked in grocery stores many years ago, one of the things that we had to like super double check all the time was expiration dates on pet food and baby food, more specifically baby food than anything, because it turns out babies can't tell you that the food you're feeding them tastes like poop or tastes spoiled, and you're probably not going to taste the baby poop or the baby food because it probably tastes like poop to you regardless. So you're not really going to know. So that was like one of the big things was always check the baby food and make sure it's not expired.
Luminous figure painting from YouTube. I'm sorry. He's like, quotation marks, I'm going to die in the next 5 minutes if I don't eat. If that's all your cats are going to say.
Yeah. Every single cat, every time. I'm literally starving.
It's just in. Cat claims to literally have never been fed in its life. Breaking news. We have an update on that story. There's literally food in his bowl right now.
Yeah. The new thing with one of our cats is like, it's like a full bowl of food, but one of them has like eaten like a hole down to the bottom of the bowl, but there's still like basically a full bowl of food in there. But she's like, this is empty, so I'm gonna go eat dog food instead. Like she would rather eat.
I want to know why.
Than just like
I just want to know why.
5 millimeters to the right to eat more cat food.
If I could just know why, that would be so. It made me so happy. Like I don't need to. Why? You're an idiot, cat. Stop being stupid. I just want to, why? I want to hear her thoughts on that. Like, why are you doing that? What is wrong with you? Anyway.
Never not once. No, I think you're right though. I think that's the one to take because they're definitely not going to listen to us ever.
They already know what we're fucking saying. Like, fucking get out of here.
I think in a lot of cases, yeah.
Well, let's jump into the news. We got some stuff to cover. Some stuff. I would like to hear news from Rob, the Memorial News Desk, and then a little bit from Wyatt right after that on the Lone Star Open.
Boots on the ground. So we do have some new Games Workshop releases. Actually, 2 sets of releases going on pre-order this Saturday. They've got the new configurations of the Age of Sigmar Dominion box coming out. So 3 different ones of that. I believe it is called the Extremis and what's the other one called? Harbinger and Warrior Edition. So you got Extremis, Harbinger, and Warrior Editions. She's literally trying to figure out how to get in this box still. There's food inside it and she wants it. And it's really loud in my ears. These are like the rebox configurations minus a couple sprues like we saw it with Indominus and like the 165 one. They added terrain, but they took out the sprue with like most of the characters that they later sold for $140 by itself, I believe it was. The Heroes of Space Marines or something. That was only a few months ago. So while I think, there are pros and cons to picking up these versions of the starters. I mean, obviously they're a little bit less expensive than Dominion because Dominion's $200. The Extremis comes with all of the new terrain, including the little portals, temple thing, and some of the ruins, which I think the G-Dub Sigmar ruins are pretty cool looking because, in 40K, everything's a ruin, right? It's all falling apart, got blasted and all that stuff. The Sigmar, I guess buildings is the correct term. They're actually building them. Like there's makeshift, not scaffolding, but like.
But they're still technically ruins. They're in a state of unfinishedness. They
are, but they're technically being built in the middle of being built because that's the thing is like, the Stormcast dudes and the Forces of Order are going back in to reclaim these areas. So it's just kind of like a different, you see it and you're like, you might not appreciate it first, but then when you look close at it, you're like, oh, that's different. That's cool. I like that. I like the narrative of it. Which is really interesting. And yeah, as someone in chat pointed out too, in theory, all you really need is the Journalist Handbook. You don't technically need the core rules. Everything's pretty much in there. They even have an army builder on their website that may or may not be there after they drop the beta app. I don't know. So, but the point I wanted to make about all the Sigmar stuff is now is a great time to get into Sigmar. If you've been curious about it, you don't necessarily need the Dominion box, but if I had to guess, we are going to see a lot of Dominion boxes discounted this summer going into fall because a lot of stores suddenly got their orders that were air quotes delayed. And they kind of didn't want them. And a lot of stores just have copies everywhere sort of right now. So I would imagine that we're going to see a lot of them on sale, which isn't a bad, there's a great value money wise in there if you're interested in the Cruel Boys or the new Stormcast. However, you can just buy the General's Handbook, pick up a faction you want, and just start from there. But it wouldn't be cheaper than maybe picking up a $200 starter for $150, maybe trading out the half you don't like for some more models that you do like as they release, and just building it up from there. That's a value way to get into Sigmar right now, either playing Stormcast or Cruel Boys. They all look good in their own ways. I think I would venture that the Cruel Boys are more popular than the new Greco-Roman Stormcast, but I might be wrong. It might be personal opinion right there. Or you can get the new starters that are coming out this week. But I think the value's waiting to get some deep discounted Dominion boxes and then building up a force of either of those, which I imagine we're going to see a lot of them. They're also doing a paint set and some tool sets and some different things. Those are all $35 and $40. So you can go with the Warrior starter that's $50, the Harbinger starter that's $99, or the Extremist starter that's $165, or look around for some good deals on Dominion starters in general. And I think you'll be very happy if you've been waiting to get into the new edition of Sigmar. But also going on pre-order too are some made to order versions of some exclusive miniatures. I think the Necron Overlord's guy's name is Hasmotep, and also Dacian Anvil is the Stormcast model that's coming out. Both of them were exclusives. I think one was store opening. I think one was supposed to be at the GWGT circuit that they started, or the tournament circuit. So you can have a chance to scoop those up this weekend on made to order. Not sure if there's going to be normally when they do the made to order, they're like, hey, you're going to get it in 180 days. And generally they're pretty on point with that. Haven't seen a lot of blowback or anything like that. So you can definitely depend on that. I would imagine they're going to be $35, but we don't know until they just drop on the site. They'll be up for about, I think they said 7 or 9 days, and you can scoop them up. So that's the actual releases coming out. Now, we did have some FAQs that dropped last Friday that kind of not a whole lot of people noticed. One of them was that the squad of Paragon Warsuits is 240 points for the squad.
There
not
we go.
Singles.
You mean our hour-long bit about how they told me that OP is wrong? Damn.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, now we know. And the points on, I believe it was the Dark Eldar Raider and Drazar were juxtaposed too. So the Raider is supposed to be 95 and Drazar is 145, I believe. Or I might have mixed those up too. No, that seems right.
You reverse mixed it.
Yeah. So just a FYI right there. GW also revealed the new Sons of Horus Praetor model from Forge World that some folks actually got on accident instead of the Malgorst mini.
It's a cool looking model, but what tickles me about it is Games Workshop Studio paint jobs. They so rarely paint faces well, and this model they actually painted the face quite good. But you can tell from the sculpt, he's got this very strange expression. And it's so instantly a meme goldmine of just this weird sort of and how do I even describe this face? It's almost like a look of sexual disappointment with a smirk on his face. And I guess that's how it looks. But I mean, I don't know. It's just very meme where
Is it funny. When this happens to me a lot? Is it in already? Is it in yet?
Yeah, that's a pretty good. Yeah, it's obviously a joke.
I'm happy because it is, but I'm also very sad.
Yeah, that's a perfect analogy. Perfect analogy. That's exactly that face.
That's my day to day. Anyway,
that's a whole separate show. We can talk about that for sure. So that was mostly the big stuff from the FAQ, but you can review them over. I think they added the rare circumstance stuff from the GT book. It's kind of whatever at this point, I believe. They also put the points in there, and it seemed like the only points changes were the ones we mentioned. And I think there was something about Ephraim Stern not actually being sisters, even though she's listed in the sisters. They did that whole like weird thing where something that's supposed to be takeable, they included in something else, but it's just probably an oversight, which it looked like it was. So there's that. Sons of Horus Praetor looks great. It's going to go on sale at some point. Imagine it's going to be, I think the single models are $33 from Forge World, or the larger ones tend to be $47. Don't know which ones this is going to be. However, if you're following along with Marvel Crisis Protocol, Atomic Mass Games put out a spoiler. We haven't seen a card yet for Blade, but they put out a spoiler in his real to play discussion where they announced that his leadership ability. First of all, there's a new faction coming out called the Midnight Suns. If you read comics in the 90s, you might remember that. It was Blade and Ghost Rider. There was a whole bunch of them. It was all the psychic dudes or all the spooky dudes. It was just really cool little thing. But he is going to be the new faction, and his leadership ability is that you can spend 1 power and move one distance, not medium or small or large, just range 1, which is kind of important. Imagine if you could spend a CP in 40K and you get an extra movement, just extra movement whenever you want it, 1 CP, whatever your base movement is. That's kind of relative. I would say half your normal movement. Like, think about what you can do with that in 40K, and it's probably just as powerful in Marvel Crisis Protocol. So it's going to be interesting that the whole faction can just arbitrarily reposition themselves. They made a joke about wedging a stake into the heart of the enemy's formations.
Solid.
It was a good one. And let's see. We got a new giveaway up over on Spiky Bits. If you've been looking to get a paint set, we're giving away an Army Painter paint set. You just got to follow the links. They're all over the site. It's very easy to enter. And I think that one's going up till August 22nd. We'll draw a winner around that time. And another thing, I don't know if this is all, I kind of left this for last because Wyatt has well, maybe I'll say this and then we'll get into the IP stuff. I suppose we can mention a little bit.
No,
but
we did the IP stuff in the pregame show, so you have to get on our platform to hear that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got to get on our Olin cast to get that one.
Yeah. And also, you have articles too.
There's a few, yeah.
Well crafted and researched.
Well, just if you want us to sell it a little bit to go back and get into that behind the scenes content, we kind of had some people in chat that were like, you guys always are kind of harping on GW about things. Why are you kind of defending them right now? Which is kind of what we were. And then we kind of break it down and get into it and explain it all right there. So that it might be worth, if you haven't heard that side of it, it might be definitely worth checking out. There was an article on Reddit where on Monday, I think they call it Meta Monday, whoever posted up. It's really interesting to read. I enjoy it. Where they took, like, I think there was 4 GTs over the weekend, and they took like the top seeds and they kind of spreadsheeted it out. And like Wyatt says with the data, we're not dataologists, we're not, statisticians, whatever you call that word. And I think a lot of times you got to look at the source, right? Of the data you're getting, like the actual like sampling of the data. And, they're like, oh, AdMech's the new OP because it's got the 77% win rate. And you start digging through all the data and they're kind of breaking it down. And what I found interesting was there was some factions in there that had really good win rates, like Grey Knights. And I forget there was another one too, but those samplings were only one player because it's probably the folks that have just been really like, Grey Knights are my thing. I'm going to play these. I've learned what to do. I'm not going to win all my games, but I'm going to give it my all. I know all the tricks, right? But whereas you got somebody like AdMech, that there was, I think, a sampling of 12 different players that all seem to do really well. You could kind of maybe make the assumption that, hey, you could just kind of pick up AdMech right now and do really well with them. Where on the flip, it seemed like Drakari was still doing really well, still had a decent sampling size, but not the percentage rate that like AdMech had. So I think,
AdMech has a really fucking good codex, man. Like,
yes. And
I mean, that's a good point. So you always got to look at the sample set. Like, always got to look.
Part of the stats too is like, if something is new and spicy, good players like to hedge their bets if you're in a tournament. So if you're if you're like Richard Siegler, right? One of the best 40K players on the planet, undoubtedly. He's like, well, Mechanicum is real fucking hot right now, and I want to win this major. I'm probably going to take like the best faction in the field. And so then you have what you see in smaller sample sizes trickling down is that if you're already a really good player and now you've gotten a spicy dex and it's a good army, then it's like it's like a +1 to your player stat. You know, it's like you're going to have a better chance of winning no matter what. Now, if somebody is like really average or bad at 40K and they get a new codex, they're not all of a sudden going to crush out a GT. It's just not, they don't have the skill to do that. So like that's one of those stats where I'm just like, okay, you're not really collating it kind of the right way because
it's almost uncorrelatable.
Right. Because like if you have 40 individuals and we constantly keep recognizing the same names of players that are within the top 5, top 10 in any given region.
Yeah. Because the problem with that data set, Wyatt, is that you would have to, not just those 4 guys, but like if it's 22 players, you have to go back and then create a spider web of what they've been doing. And then go back to what they've been doing, right? Like to actually have more accuracy in that. So it's not going to be that accurate. It's a good way to see kind of like what's popular, what's doing well. And it is a good place to, as long as you make sure to see how big the sample sizes are, it's a good place to go and like maybe make a decision about where you want to spend your money based on hedging your bet. But it's definitely not the end all be all. Even Falcon, Kara Quinn brings us up, says the game is the worst it's ever been competitively. Though most people, if you pulled them, would say that is not true. So it's raw stats that inform his opinion, but only this data set. So I think it's useful as long as you approach it, informed.
I mean, it's going to be an interesting weekend. There's going to be a number.
For sure.
This is a really big event. There's going to be a number of factors that are somewhat new. So like and
this is the Lone Star Open, which you are at right now.
Yes. Shout out to Frontline. I actually talked to Reese before coming up and doing the podcast. So I'm sure I'll see him again. So like if we're here and there's like almost 300 something people, maybe more, and a relative unknown comes up with AdMech and just like slaps the dick off of some of the really like good national level players that are here, that would be really surprising. That would be an indicator to me of like Mechanicum is a fucking problem.
And that would be a data set.
Yeah. But if somebody like, I don't know, like Anthony Birdsong shows up playing Mechanicum and wins, I'd be like, that's not surprising to me because he's already such a really good player that it's like kind of like
he just got a +1 to his player stat, like you said.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, like
Mechanicum is undoubtedly powerful.
Yeah, it's a really good dex, like no debate there. But does it have a 77% win rate because a bunch of
does it have a 77% win rate? Raw dog out the box. You've never played this game before against a guy who raw dog out the box never played this game before. Like, I don't know. Probably not. It probably has a good number associated with it, but it's a 77. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't correlate skill, player skill experience. So like, disregard it. Look at it, make informed purchase decisions, use it to hedge your bet on like, ooh, well, this is actually telling me it's popular. I need to be able to play against this. So you should be using that information to up your game and not say like, there's no point in playing if I'm not playing AdMech. But that is just not there.
Just be aware, just educate yourself and be aware of the tricks and stuff because you're obviously going to see them out there.
Let's go a little deeper on the Lone Star Open here in a second. Let me plug one of my promos real quick, Rob. I have 3 openings for my private classes on my Patreon page right now. And so I've already announced it to my patrons first. This is my second announcement to the general population. Those things are first come, first served. They go quick. People get in line for those things for like a month. 3 open spots. Patreon/next level painting right now. Anyway.
And if you join up, you get to first message him, am I in? It's priceless.
And if you can't, like, if that club is too exclusive, like you can't get into that nightclub, you come over to my nightclub. It's a little shittier, a little seedier, but man, we're always open.
I mean, they got PBR tall boys, $5.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, dollar drink special level painting type stuff.
I mean, past blue ribbon, they don't just give that blue ribbon away for free, bro. Just so you understand.
I'll teach you to paint some shit, but your results are free.
Is there $3 Long Island iced teas?
Oh, don't drink those. Rob, God, Rob.
That is a mistake.
That is an old one. I haven't even thought about that in a long time.
Dude, that's how you wake up and order in room service.
Rob did that at a Wargames con like 10 years ago, where it was like a mixer. Like it was like a meet and greet in the hotel lobby, and the bar was slinging $3 Long Islands, and it was like just a pre-mix bottle on ice.
Oof.
And Rob drank. Oh, it was a team tournament. It was a team, wasn't it? It was
ATCs.
It was ATCs, and it was the mixer in the hotel lobby, and we had a team. Nick Rose is on our team. Rob is the most obliterated I've ever seen him. More obliterated.
That doesn't sound right.
More obliterated than the floor salad incident that you've heard about on the podcast.
That actually happened. I do remember that.
Like this is, I mean, it just didn't get to floor salad because it was like Nick Rose saying like, yo, we got to get up at like 6. Our boy over here is obliterated, sir. And I'm like, Rob, we got to go to bed. You're rooming with Nick Rose. He's like, I don't want to take care of this guy tonight. So I just always remember like okay, we'll go. Like just obliterated. I try to sign your fucking bar tab.
Oh yeah, scribbles.
And like me like holding it for you, and you're just like slapping some ink on that motherfucker.
I went back. I was worried the next morning. I was like, dang, how much did I spend? Because I'm
$17. They were $3 each.
It was like $14.
They were $3, bro. Drank like 7 of them bitches.
I don't think they charged me for all of them.
Like
to this day.
Go drink 7 Long Island iced teas in like a 45-minute mixer. See how you feel in the morning. Like
it was a rough morning. I won't lie.
Whew.
I don't know if my body can handle things like that these days.
Oh, it was brutal. So okay, Lone Star Open. Why is there right now? Let's do a quick 10 on this before we jump into Orks.
Man, Lone Star Open, huge event. This might be the biggest event of the year so far.
Yeah.
I don't want to, shoot for the moon or anything, but it's looking like it's going to be a really good event. I was down in the hall earlier, and this isn't like, hotel conference room level. Like this is at a really nice hotel attached to a literal convention center. And so I went down there, and it is a massive space. Like almost, I would say, like if anybody's ever been to Adepticon, it's like the entirety of the main hall at Adepticon with no dividers. Like that's how big it is. And it is stacked to the brim with 40K tables, right? We got the frontline terrain. Some people have opinions on frontline terrain. I think it's relatively good terrain. So I like that. It's not like Adepticon where there's just like styrofoam with toothpicks in it and shit from 3rd edition. One of the things that they're doing at this event is going to be to actually do player place terrain. There is some stipulations where there is an equal number of pieces of terrain. So it's like 2 big pieces and 2 middle pieces, and like an equal number of pieces of terrain per player. And each table is divided up into 2 halves. And I am allowed to place one of my pieces of terrain in anywhere I want in my half. And then you alternate with your opponent. So it's not like I can just put all the terrain on one half and then we roll off and be like, nah, you sucks. You lost. So you get to Planet Bowling Ball over there. And it's like, no, but the way you got to think about it is basically you can make your dream deployment zone, if that makes sense, right? Like you can alternate. Some things have to be spaced out. Like you can't just create a wall of terrain. Like they have to be either 4 or 6 inches away.
Like in the old days, we would just like put all the walls in the middle of the table and then just put everything in the corners. Like,
yeah, it's not like that. That's like OG stuff. So like if that's what you've been hearing, you heard wrong. It's gonna it makes for. I like my analogy. It's like you can create your dream deployment zone with some stipulations, and it makes it to where it's like you can't really blame terrain if you have a bad game, because it's like, well, dog, you put all the terrain on your half of the table right where you wanted it. So like, what's the deal? Some people are still like, I don't like this. But here's the thing, like the ITC frontline, they like to have solid data for stuff, like when they make a big decision, right? And so it's like, is this a good idea? Let's find out. Let's have a 6-round major with like 300 or more people where we try out player place terrain like this and see if it works. And if it doesn't work, cool. We know without a shadow of a doubt, we have all like hundreds and hundreds of games, right? Because it's not just 6 games, it's 300 people each playing 6 games, right? Could it be a good idea? We'll see. We'll see what happens. Like
it's like almost 2,000 games.
I was down. I had a drink with Sean Naden before the podcast, and we were talking about it. And he's like, "Yeah, fucking, I love this shit." You know who doesn't like this? Apparently, OP Mechanicum, because it's like I can make my dream deployment zone. So if I go second against Mechanicum, I'm not worried about my entire army getting shut off the board turn 1. So like, cool, that's a good thing to me. That sounds great. We'll see how it goes. Speaking of AdMech, not a whole lot of people showing up with AdMech. You know, not a huge amount of people on the roster with AdMech. So I'd have to go in and do like a deep dive on like who's playing what and that sort of thing to see if it's like going to be one of those situations where, you know, we have 300 people, but the top 5 is still Mechanicum because like 5 national level players brought Mechanicum. I don't know right this second. But right now I kind of have this feeling where it's like, hey, it could be anything, you know, like there's a lot of talent here. A lot of big names from the TCC, a lot of national level players are in town. So I think it's going to be really interesting.
I'm excited for you. I'm pulling for you. You brought your wacky cast list?
Oh yeah, I'm bringing some dumb shit. So this is either going to go well or it's going to go really bad. So we'll see what happens. You know, I'm playing pure Chaos Space Marines. So
no caveat.
Don't look at my list. But I might in my mind, it's just like I'm playing pure Chaos Space Marines. So if I do well, I get to gloat, be like, oh, Chaos Space Marines are so bad. Blah, blah, blah. That's kind of Kenny and I's in joke. But if I do well, cool. If I don't do well, I kind of expect it. But I might still win Best in Faction because Chaos Space Marines, there's only like 4 people at this event playing Chaos Space Marines. So I'm looking forward to having a good time. You know, win or lose.
Pulling for you. Best in Faction, Chaos Space Marines.
Hopefully.
Bring it home for the tactics discussions. Well, Rob, are we ready to talk about Orks?
Yes. I have the book, so I can help. I can do things.
Yay.
Okay, so we're gonna maintain Wyatt on lead here as we move into why is this codex the Snake Bites Codex?
Oh man. So yeah, like past 3 or 4 days, we've been getting a lot of leaks on the codex. The whole thing is out there. We have the whole text now, and the predominant feeling that I'm getting from my reading of it and going over certain things is that this definitely feels like Codex Snake Bites. Like the clan culture is so good comparatively to the other clan cultures that outside of running small detachments of certain units with different clan cultures to be able to use specific stratagems, I don't see a reason to not make the majority of your army Snake Bites. One of the things that we were talking about on the last podcast is like, what is going to actually get clan cultures and what isn't? Well, it turns out it's the same as it was. Everything gets it except for Gretchen. So if I'm playing Snake Bites, I can throw a fucking Stompa into my Snake Bites and it gets the stuff, right? My scrap jets get the transhuman for strength 7 and lower, all that stuff. So it's like, could I go Evil Sons and get +1 inch to movement and +2 inch to advance? Like, yeah, sure. But I would really rather my fucking scrap jets like stay on the table to actually do something for more than 1 turn.
Defense is better than a slight movement advantage on already fast moving things.
Especially in an army like Orks where your predominant power is lots of models. It's a horde army. You don't have to run 100.
Every defensive measure when you have a lot of stuff has more opportunities to meet its breakpoints.
Right. And so with vehicles getting ramshackle, which is -1 damage, like
for the same thing for strike 7 below. Yeah, literally.
So it's like it's cool. Like I don't have anything against
basically snake bites will be doing a Fury Road list better than Speed Freaks.
Yeah, for the most part, just because they'll be able to sit there longer. They'll be able to. They're harder to kill, right? Beast Snaga stuff in general is looking to be, I wouldn't say outright better, but they have some interesting plays.
Highly incentivized.
Yeah, it definitely feels like this codex is like, hey, play fucking Snake Bites and Beast Snaga units because they're the new heat.
When you're done with this point, what's your favorite unit right now? Like, what's your favorite Redux? What's your favorite new thing?
Well, okay, so if we're talking characters, Mazrog so cool. On the Great White Squig. Not only is it just a baller model, like if you don't like orcs riding fucking dinosaur squigs, like get out of.
He looks like a shark, dude. He is fucking awesome. He's got like an engine in the squig with exhaust pipes.
And guns.
Oh my god, he's so cool. Okay, so bold statement. Mazrog might be the most efficiently point costed offensive monster character in 40K. The stuff that you get for him being 170 points is a little crazy. So he is like got a 10-inch move like the Squig Hogs and all that stuff, right? So he's got great mobility. He's got a high toughness value. He's got 9 wounds, so he's got a good amount of wounds, and he can be blocked by units of 3 or vehicles and that kind of thing, right? His weapon skill is really good. His gun, he has a thump gun, which is the new like Beast Snaga gun thing. It's like a 40 millimeter grenade launcher. But that's orc shooting. His melee weapon is pretty good for a beat stick character. The Squig itself has a fantastic melee profile with strength 7.
He's like a Lord of Discordant, but you can't target him.
And then the Great White Squig, like it has the crushing squig jaws. The Squigosaurs have that, where it's like if you roll a 6 on the wound roll, you do 4 flat mortal wounds on top. Right? He's only got 3 attacks, but anytime you roll a 6, it's like 4 fucking mortal wounds on top of that, right? The generic guy on a Squigosaur kind of does the same thing, but it's 3 flat mortal wounds. The Great White Squig, slightly better. And because he snake bites, that Squig is +1 to wound when he charges or heroic intervenes. So strength 7 is like real fucking good with +1 to wound. It's like, it's awesome. He's got the snake bites Surly as a Squigoth warlord trait. So when he dies on a 4-up, he gets back up with D3 wounds left. So you get a second chance to do even more stuff with Mazrog. Like, it's amazing. He's got a 3-up armor save. Fantastic. He's got a 4-up invul save. Fantastic. He's got -1 damage. Fucking fantastic. Like, this dude is awesome. Like, I wish I had a Space Marine character as good as Mazrog is. And he's only 170 points.
Someone in chat from YouTube, he's like, wait, you're telling me that a new unit is better on the tabletop than models you already own? Yeah.
Wait a minute.
But remember, Wyatt started this thing with how cool it looked. Remember? GW makes models that sell rules and rules that sell models. This is the sickest looking model in a long time. So GW also maintains that they always deliver. Like, they deliver on that hotness. They don't just give us a Buster Brown model that has better rules. They give us like possibly the sickest new orc in existence.
Gazgul Thraka, also really fucking good. Like, he's legit, too legit to quit.
He's got the super wog.
Right, yeah. Some of you who are longtime orc players probably got a Warboss or 17 in Mega Armor. Guess what's back in the Codex? Warboss and Mega Armor. And for 115 points, really fucking good. He's got a 2-up. He's got a 5-up. He's like toughness 6. He's got like 7 wounds. He hurts in close combat. It's a generic character, so you can do all sorts of combos with warlord traits and relics and stuff. Like, I think that the Warboss and Mega Armor is going to be one of like the more efficient ways to fill out character choices in a lot of Orcs armies.
There's a massive,
really good
amount of characters to it.
Yeah, he's super solid.
So you answered my question. I'm like, obviously, like, you are unbelievably hype on this new hot model. What about some older models that already existed that got maybe points changes, new rules added on, maybe moved around in the chart? What do you got there?
So a couple of things. Trucks are actually pretty okay for 70 points. They have ramshackle, so they have that like -1 damage thing going on. You can give them a custom job.
And if they're snake bites,
yeah, and they got that too because
they're all snake bites. It's all snake bites all the time.
They fucking get it right, yeah. They can take a custom job to give a 5-up invul save. It's 20 points, little steep for a 5-up invul save, but could be very handy. Things like your battle wagon variants, like the Bone Breaker, still rock and rolls. Death Dreads. Death Dreads are pretty neato for 85 points, especially when they're fucking snake bites, right? Death Copters, pretty cool.
So yeah, someone in chat mentioned Death Copters. I love them. They're 150, but they're one of the best solo, like our way we do a solo spawn in our Death Card army.
I can't do that anymore.
You can't take them one?
Yeah, it's a unit of 3. Unit of 3. 3 to 6.
3 to 6, huh? So 3 at 150 is still really good. 4 wounds each.
Yeah. They're getting new models, but you probably have a bunch of Death Copters laying around. Honestly, the buggies, like we were kind of worried about, like, oh, my buggies, what's going to happen? Like some of them got points decreases, make them a little bit more efficient. I think some of them are still overcosted for what they do, especially when you might want to put a custom job on them. But again, with snake bites, they fucking rock and roll.
I think the Scrapjet, our favorite one, went down 20 points.
It went down 10.
Or went down 10?
Because it had gotten a point reduction in the big chapter approved Unitorum manual.
So it went down another 10 off of it's already going down 10.
Yeah, its weapons don't cost extra now.
Yeah.
That was
so it's a little cheaper, but again, -1 in damage and all snake bites all the time. It's got this damage.
And if you really want to, you can just pay to give it an invul save, pay 20 points. You know,
which you're back to the original point cost, like from release.
But it has a 5-up invul save now, which kind of
and -1 damage and snake bites. Like it's pretty exciting stuff. I like the Gorkanaut and Morkanaut. That's my number one shit right now.
Yet again, like overall, probably a little bit better just on base stats. You know, it's the new DACA weapon profile.
24 wounds, toughness 8, 350 points for the cheaper one.
Yeah, I can never remember which one is which.
Is it Gorkanaut or Morkanaut? The one that can take the custom force field.
I think that's the Gorkanaut.
Like
I don't know. The one that I like is the one with the big crazy shooting potential because
30 shots is dope, obviously.
Yeah, it's 20-30. So minimum you're always getting 20. And then you can use a stratagem to make DACA weapons as if they're at half range, even at full range. I think it's only 1 CP. But
I'm very impressed by the point cost, by the survivability, by the clan cultures.
Give that thing a custom job for a 5-up invul save and make it fucking snake bites and just like let it go. Like it's crazy.
Doing work.
I mean, if you like 3 knights, like you could literally do a super heavy detachment with like 3 of these guys, and it's bargain basement prices compared to knights. They move, they punch. You can have a fucking invulnerable force field generator. You can have a billion shots. They can have dudes inside their bellies. They got so many fucking rules, man. I'm a big fan.
Oh, so a unit that people probably have a lot of that's really good is bikers. Like bikers are really spicy. I've seen a lot of people talk about how good bikers are. I'm not a super huge fan of the old bike models. So I'm going to be going into the more like Beastnaga direction. But if you have a bunch, or if like Orks on motorcycles is your Jimmy Jam, then like, yeah, get a bunch of them. The other thing is Mega Knobs. Like Mega Knobs are actually pretty spicy for what you get.
I love the Mega Knobs.
Yeah. I was thinking about this, like, I want to take like, 5 Mega Knobs and a Warboss and Mega Armor and put it in a fucking Bone Breaker with an invul save and just like, but then I was like, you know what they actually are pretty good for is kind of the same thing that I was using Death Shroud for, where you just take the minimum 3, which I think is 105 points.
Shove it inside of a Gorkanaut?
No, and just teleport them somewhere. Like, they're going to go over here and gather Octarius data and just chill out.
They also have stratagems where they have a stratagem where they can do an extra damage A strategy, they can take the 0 point CP and hit on 2s.
Yes, but on that point, the specialist mobs are a little weird. So let's get into this. So you can only have one period per detachment. You can't have like one Truck Boys mob and one Mad Boys mob and one, Decrushes or whatever. It's like one per detachment. That's it. Right. So it's a little restrictive there. Right. But then the other thing is that you replace the clan keyword with that keyword. So if you turn your...
Oh, shit. Is that by design?
It's yes, that's by design.
So you lose your transhuman physiology to hit on 2s?
You no longer have the clan keyword, so you do not get clan cultures. And if it's something like play this stratagem to let a freebooters unit do this, well, you no longer have the freebooters keyword.
Oh, that sucks.
Right. And then another weird thing that's in the decks right now, so it's going to be that way on launch, is Truck Boys can't legally get into a truck.
Because they don't have the same culture.
Because trucks, you can only embark clan orc infantry on them or flash kits. It specifically says flash kits or
day one FAQ inbound right there.
Right. So it's a little weird. So it's like if you want to do like a more just in the turn, like the sense of like a specialist attachment where you're like, oh, I want to do like this one detachment that has like some blood axes in it, so I can do this one cool thing. It might be worth it there because the clan culture for that is not very good. You can risk losing it. But if you're running snake bites, like the reason you're running snake bites is purely for their clan culture because it's fucking awesome. So I don't want to lose that. Right. So the specialist mobs are not really something that I'm looking at anymore, knowing that stuff. Now, maybe the FAQ where it's like you get to keep the clan keyword or something. I don't know. We'll have to see.
That seems like a mess. I mean, it seems like that gimps it so hard. They have to. I think they would have to say we didn't mean it removes it utterly, because I feel like that. Like I would never take this shit if that was the case.
Yeah, because I was looking at something like Mad Boys. Like the Mad Boy specialist mob would be great on a unit of Squig Hog Riders. But then I'm like, oh, but I lose snake.
What were you saying, Rob, on that point?
Nothing specific.
Just agreeing with us.
I do have a question to ask once you
throw it in there. We were just talking about units we're getting hype on, just offering our opinion to the community. What you got?
Well, I noticed why do you think they don't have like specializations for characters like like Marines? You can be like the super apothecary or whatever.
I'm not entirely sure why they don't have that, but it might be due to the fact that like on their own, orc characters tend to be pretty awesome. Like that's kind of their whole thing. Like we talked about this I think last time, where it's like it's a little weird that like in as far as rules go, that like an orc war boss can't like buff his boys or like buff other units, but that's not really how orcs roll. Like when you really think about it, like an orc war boss is like, I'm the biggest, I'm the best, fuck all you other guys. Like if it came down to me or you, I'm throwing you under the fucking rhino tracks, to survive. Yeah. And so like these guys are either they do something like a weird boy or a whir boy where they're casting psychic powers, or maybe they're like a pain boss that's there to like stitch dudes up. But like Gazgul, he doesn't really care what you're doing. Like Mazrog, he's like, I'm not buffing up my Squig Hog boys. Like I'm here to get stuck in and do my thug life.
Yeah.
And they're just good as is. Like I don't really see any need for point upgrades to make guys better because they're just good innately.
All these humans trying to be the best, the most importantest, and orcs is just always good.
Yeah. I mean, probably like Storm Boys. Storm Boys are good. Storm Boys are pretty handy. Probably one of the biggest like new units that is garnering a lot of attention is the new War Machine Kill Rig or Hunter Rig. It's like a dual kit. The Kill Rig
wasn't that a Forge World unit previously, or
I don't
think it was ever
so.
A thing.
No,
this is definitely kind of Mad Max inspired.
Oh, that's the new one that's coming out. That's right. All right.
Right. Yeah. So the Kill Rig is that new thing where it's like big crazy trailer war machine pulled by squigs and stuff. But here's some interesting things about the Killrig, right? So it moves 12 inches. It's weapon skill 3, ballistic skill 5, pretty standard, right? Strength 6. T8 though. T8's pretty awesome to have on any type of vehicle or monster unit, right?
It's the ultimate break point in wounds and toughness.
It's got 16 wounds and a 3-up armor save naturally, right? Like it's got some cool weapons. It's got this Sticka cannon, which is like a harpoon launcher that's big gun that causes damage, rerolls against monster vehicles. But then it's got the Whir Tower. And that's because the Killrig is basically just a giant war chariot for a Whir boy, because it's a character model. Like this vehicle has the character model on top of having, clan and vehicle and transport and psyker. It's a character, right? And so he's got the Whir Tower, which is a strength 9 -3 D6 damage, but it's only one shot. But if the Whir boy manifests a psychic power in the psychic phase, it goes to assault T3. And this weapon auto hits. Yes, that's the big deal. So it's like, it doesn't do the sustained damage of something like the las cannons like Mechanicum use, but it's a las cannon that auto hits.
It works like auto hitting, I heard.
Yeah, pretty cool. Its melee is pretty solid. It's like 3 flat damage and 2 flat damage. And you can do some interesting things because this guy's a character. So there's a warlord trait that makes you -1 to be wounded. So now all of a sudden we have this T8 16 wound thing with a 3-up, right? And it's snake bites. So it's got this transhuman for strength 7 and lower, and it's -1 to be wounded. So when you do shoot at it with something like Melta, which is really popular, all of a sudden those Meltas are wounding you on 5s.
I think it's locked into which one it can take.
Not warlord traits. Relics, yes. Warlord traits, no.
Yeah, it says Beast Gob. It says it has to take Beast Gob. Maybe. What does this mean? If one of the following characters gains a warlord trait, they must have the one shown below.
That's a named character thing.
Right, but it says named characters in Killrigs. And then it says Killrig, Beast Gob.
So they're calling a Killrig a named character?
Well, no, the title of the section is named characters and Killrigs.
And Killrigs, okay.
And then it says it gets Beast, whatever Beast Gob is. I didn't look that one up yet.
Oh, if it's the one that I had on there.
Oh, is it? Is it the neg one?
I don't remember what it's called. It's all work shit.
It's all work. It is friendly squig unit within clan squig unit within 6. Each time a model in that unit makes a melee with the squig hug, smash your squigs or squig jaws, add 1 to the attack's damage characteristic.
Okay, so the only one he can take is like a buff delete
for other squig hogs and shit.
Still not bad.
No, that works. I mean, you're gonna take some of those fucking guys in your list anyway. So
yeah, and it's a vehicle, so you can do a custom job, give it a 5-up invul save, which is pretty sick. And I think I have to find the stratagem section, but I think you can actually play the full-on transhuman stratagem that snake bites have on this model. It's called not lumbering strides. Tough. I think it's called tough as squig hide. Beast snag, infantry, cavalry, or monster.
Yeah. The stratagems are a little underwhelming as expected for modern 9th edition codexes, while the statistics and characteristics of the models are staggering.
Yeah.
Is it
all in all,
beast snagger?
So it is.
It is a beast snagger.
This says infantry, cav, or monster.
It has none of those keywords.
It doesn't have monster?
It does not.
No, it's vehicle. Yeah,
it's vehicle. It's vehicle. Yeah. Did you see too that they restricted? You can only have a maximum of 1 war boss or death killer war trike in each attachment.
I did. Yeah, it's I mean, everybody uses
that's standard.
Yeah, standard now. So it's like it's just incentivizing taking things like weird boys and word boys and pain bosses and stuff like that.
Yeah, they have 1,000 characters, man. Like,
you almost have to at this point, right?
Yeah, more characters than you could ever possibly use. And so yeah, like this thing for I think it goes up to 205 with a custom job on it. Pretty handy, You know, and you can take 3 of them. Pretty solid.
Solid point cost for sure.
Pretty
for all that.
solid.
That is a sexy ass unit. I'm with it. I mean, I'm a big fan of all this. I'm a big fan of every change I've seen so far. Like I said, the stratagems are the only thing that underwhelmed me, but I'm expecting that from 9th edition. Like that Death Guard underwhelmed me too from stratagems. Right? There was like, oh, this one is really good. Flash Outbreak. Bro, I haven't even used it yet. Like, cause it's still not like automatically going to be used every game. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's good characteristics, a lot of pre-game things you decide on, putting the right units in the right places for their synergies, and very situational stratagems that work very effectively for your style of play. So there's no like game-breaking combos in here. You know what I'm saying? There's just like, oh, that is for this. So it's not like you're some genius who figured out a combo. They wrote it for you. You know? Yeah,
that's just 9th edition in general.
Right, and I think the overall feeling on that is definitely positive, because the like I'm going to stomp your dick in wombo combo stratagem stuff from 8th edition was definitely like feel bad central. And so building lists around like being a solid list, like building to the format to like gain points and win games, rather than like, oh, I'm just going to do this fucking like 5 CP wombo combo and just like, you know, rip your face off. I think it opens up a lot of doors for list building. I don't know. I think we should probably end it out with faction secondaries, since that's something we were wondering about.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple of these pretty okay. The other ones like very situational to outright bad. So you've got Stomp 'em Good, and you get 3 victory points at the end of each battle round if the number of enemy units destroyed by melee attacks made by Orks unit is more than the number of friendly non-Gretchen units that were destroyed by melee during the battle round. And then you score 1 additional victory point at the end of each battle round if the number of enemy units destroyed by melee attacks is at least 2 and double or more than the number of friendly non-aggression units that were destroyed by melee. So highly restrictive in that you have to kill more, but only in melee than were killed in melee. So I don't know. So
all you have to do is kill more in melee than they did.
Yes,
that's playable.
Yeah, it's not terrible, but it's highly restrictive because it requires you to be stuck in. And so, like, not like I'm kind of like in my head. I'm thinking about other factions.
There's a risk. There's a gamble there.
Yeah, like I'm thinking of like I'm comparing these to faction secondaries that have already come out, and sort of like so every time I read one that isn't Oath of Moment or like the Dark Eldar ones.
Look, when
like,
you pick a secondary,
sort of like,
you're trying not to gamble, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's the kind of thing. Like this is the way to like help me secure points beyond like the primary.
This is not a sure bet. There's a risk here.
Yeah,
and so plan accordingly.
So the next one is get the good bits. Always want them good bits. And this one is like a wall of tech. Basically, it's like you select. You and your opponent alternate selecting objectives, and like you have to go get those. I think there's one in the Necron Codex that's very similar to this. It's very highly restrictive, kind of high risk, high reward, because it's like, oh, if you can ever get the one, like it's very easy for your opponent to deny you, you know, because it's like you know which ones you're going to be going towards, so you can kind of like, I know what you're going to do before you do it, sort of thing. Read through that one. It's not like absolute.
So it's one where we both
tier.
So it's like we both pick objectives, and I have to like take your. If I hold more the ones you pick than me, I get some.
No, it's like you have to go do an action on them to like grab the loot from it. If that makes like it's a lot. It's like this thing is like 2.5 paragraphs.
So another risky one.
Yeah, it's like I personally do not like these because it's like my opponent immediately knows what I'm going to do.
Yeah, and obviously
right?
we compare everything to Oves a moment, so
and so it's a little bit different than like maybe a mission secondary where it's like okay,
it could be in a
ground,
pinch, like a sub tier mission style secondary that is still slightly better and easier to attain based on your opponent and what's going on. Like, so it does seem like a good box.
Yeah, so that's why I say it's not like a dumpster fire, but it's not like maybe not what you want to take. Okay? The other two are somewhat like I kind of like these. So one is called The Biggest and the Best, and this is all about your war boss just like schwacking dudes in the fight phase. So like you get 3 victory points at the end of each battle round for each of the following achieved for a maximum of 5. Killing a monster or vehicle, like just your warlord is doing all like kill it, melee, monster, vehicle, kill a character, or kill 5 or more models. And so that last one, that's kind of what piqued my interest because like killing a character might be a little hard because they're going to
you're not going to max. This isn't one of those things where you say I'm going to max it necessarily.
Yeah,
you're saying I'm going to get 10 points for sure.
Right, because like killing 5 models with your warlord, that's going to be like
especially if it's this white squid guy who you can protect as he moves up the battlefield. Yeah, this 100%. Is a good one.
That's a good one. I like that one. And then the last one is Green Tide, and this one is you get points. You get 3 victory points at the end of the battle round if 2 or more battlefield quarters each have an Orks unit from your army with 11 or more models wholly within it. Pretty standard stuff to do with Orks. And then you get 5 victory points if all 4 quarters have one.
Oh, shit.
So this one is a pretty good one, but I say that I don't think it's like free the way that certain other ones are free because
it's 11 or more, which means you need to pad those unit sizes, which means they're also going to be targeted by the opponent to remove that 11 caveat.
Right.
So it's still a risk here.
So like if you want to run Green Tide,
this is your list. If you're running that 180 body list, this is your secondary.
Right. But if you're doing a more like KG MSU style, like playing for different secondaries, kind of, and
you only have a couple of units that are bigger than 11 models anyway. Guess what? They're not going to have 11 models into the game.
That's the play KG MSU secondary that doesn't exist.
That's why it's the Green Tide. Like, this is
exactly.
So I would with the way that like I'm kind of gearing up to play Orks, Green Tide is not really something that I'm thinking about, just because like when you get into units of like 20 or more boys or storm boys, they actually do start to become kind of like points sinks where you're like, I'm losing out on some stuff by having flexibility. It this way. Right. And then like if you're running Horde Orks, but everything is more like small unit style, you're actually like saturating the table with targets and splitting up,
making people's firepower less efficient.
Right. Exactly. So I mean, like Green Tide could be like if you want to put like 90 boys and 60 storm boys and a bunch of other stuff on the table and just go for Green Tide every time, like very viable. But it's a style of play. You're just restricted to a style.
You're going to see it because people have this collection already.
Oh yeah.
People are going to evolve past it really fast.
Right. So that list we were talking about, 180 boy bodies with snake bites. Like Green Tide is like
90 boy because now it's 60 storm boys now because
you're going to take. You're probably going to take Engage. And you're going to take fucking Green Tide like just all day every day.
Facts, man. I'm excited about these Orks. Can't wait to see what happens. Can't wait to see because we have list submissions, right? And there was a new update from the Dice Hammer list submissions. I didn't read it yet, though. For our tournament we're going to in August, Wyatt. We're going to the team tournament.
I think the 26th is the cutoff.
So there might be some Orks at the very next thing we go to in August. Cool. So we would have live.
I wanted to play Orks, but they're going to drip feed the models out over the next month, so I just won't have them. But September, go to Vegas. I'll be here playing Orks
because we have the Vegas team tournament as well. So we'll be able to report more. We'll be able to have observational information and then empirical when Wyatt actually plays them in September.
And we'll see something for everything else this weekend at the Lone Star Open.
We're going to have updates. Wyatt's going to be really good about posting pictures and round updates on his Facebook page, Chat Close Painting. And
well, now
Only Cats.
and his Only Cats page. Definitely follow him so we can keep updated and live our best tournament life vicariously through him. That's why I made him to do it, so that I can feel like I'm there.
Yep.
But hey, you know what? I think we fucking did it, guys. This is our second episode without Mike Haspel.
I think now you got to tell me to take it out. See, that's
that's what I'm.
Your ship's computer.
I'm now the ship's computer. Hold on, Wyatt. You need to tell me to take it out.
No,
all right.
Stop it. You can beat into all.
Kenny, take us out.
Rob, take us out of here.
You just had to take it to that level, didn't you? So that is it for this one, y'all. I see. I screwed it up.
You want me to do a movie quote? Would that make it easier, Rob?
Sure, if you want.
All right, here we go. Nah, Liberty. That's my stake. You pick it up.
It just sucks without Mike Haspel. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I tried.
Wow. He just found you wanting.
Oh, is that another movie quote? Did you just throw a movie quote at his movie quote?
Not on purpose. No, I can't take credit for that.
That was an unintentional Knight's Tale quote.
It was. Now I realize I was like, what did I say? I was like, oh shit. I just Heath Ledgered it.